People with extremely high IQ reveal their intelligence through ordinary habits, including the time they spend alone. In this video, we explore why solitude is common among intelligent people and why it does not prove intelligence. Thank you, and subscribe to Thalvyn Psychology for insights into human behavior. Consider a data analyst in Chicago who skips a crowded lunch and sits alone in a park. His coworkers may assume he is cold or antisocial, but he may need quiet space to process the morning's ideas. Deep thinkers often benefit from reduced stimulation because silence helps them organize information, compare possibilities, and restore attention. Intentional solitude can support complex thinking, emotional regulation, and creative problem-solving. However, preferring time alone can also reflect introversion, social fatigue, anxiety, rejection, or personal preference. Healthy solitude usually leaves someone refreshed and more willing to reconnect. Unhealthy social withdrawal often increases fear, avoidance, and emotional distance. Quiet time may be where deeper thinking begins, but the next pattern appears when curiosity refuses to stop asking questions. At a coffee shop in Seattle, a woman watches the baristas organize orders and wonders why the workflow follows that sequence. Other customers see a counter, but she sees a system that can be understood and improved. Analytical thinkers often search automatically for causes, structures, and patterns in ordinary situations. They ask what is happening. They also ask why it works this way and what might change if one element were different. Still, asking many questions does not always indicate high intelligence. It may also reflect inexperience, anxiety, a need for control, or a desire for attention. Productive curiosity leads to experiments, learning, decisions, and action. Scattered curiosity collects endless information without applying it. A useful question is, what can I test or use from this? When no one is available to answer their questions, many curious people begin a behavior that others often misunderstand. A college student in Boston repeats her presentation steps: introduction, data, example, and conclusion. Her roommate assumes she is nervous, but she is using speech to organize her working memory. Psychologists call this self-directed speech. It can help people focus, manage tasks, control behavior, and turn complex thoughts into clear steps. When an idea is spoken aloud, the brain gains another reference point for tracking progress. However, talking to yourself is common and does not prove high intelligence. What matters is the purpose and content of the speech. Instructional self-talk asks, what is the next step, and supports problem-solving. Ruminative self-talk repeats criticism, such as, why do I always ruin everything? One form creates direction, while the other deepens stress and self-doubt. Organizing thoughts this way can be useful, but a more mature sign of intelligence appears when someone admits what they do not know. During a meeting at a technology company in Austin, an employee is asked to explain a forecast. Instead of guessing to protect her image, she says the data is insufficient and suggests checking again before reaching a conclusion. This reflects intellectual humility, the ability to recognize the limits of one's knowledge. Deep thinkers often understand that a problem may be more complex than it first appears. A confident answer is not always an accurate one. Still, saying, I don't know, does not automatically signal intelligence. It may also reflect poor preparation, avoidance of responsibility, or low confidence. The real value lies in what the person does next. A practical question is, what information would change my mind? That question turns uncertainty into investigation rather than defensiveness. However, seeing many possibilities has a downside. The mind can transform one small decision into dozens of competing scenarios. After sending a short email to his manager, an employee in New York rereads every sentence. He wonders whether the final period sounded cold and whether the delayed reply means his manager is upset. An analytical mind often creates several possible explanations at once. That ability is useful for solving complex problems, but it can become overthinking when there is not enough evidence to eliminate unlikely scenarios. Overthinking does not prove high intelligence. It may also be connected to anxiety, perfectionism, hypervigilance, or a history of being criticized. A practical solution is to separate decisions into two categories. For reversible decisions, set a short deadline and act. For difficult-to-reverse decisions, slow down, gather evidence, and compare consequences. This approach protects analytical strength without allowing endless possibilities to control daily life. Surprisingly, the same ability to notice hidden layers and unexpected connections can also appear in something that seems completely different, a sophisticated sense of humor. During a family dinner in California, someone makes a joke by connecting two seemingly unrelated events. Some relatives understand immediately, while others need seconds to recognize the hidden link. Humor often requires the brain to detect patterns, predict an outcome, and process a break in expectation. A sophisticated joke may demand language skills, social awareness, and the ability to imagine another person's perspective. Still, being funny does not prove high intelligence, and intelligent people are not always humorous. Humor is shaped by culture, personality, environment, and comfort. It can also become a coping strategy. Some people use jokes to reduce tension or hide painful emotions. That can be adaptive, but constant joking may prevent others from noticing when support is needed. Intelligence is not only the ability to create a perspective, it also appears in the willingness to abandon an old one when evidence changes. A man who once opposed remote work changes his opinion after reviewing productivity data and experiencing hybrid work firsthand. He does not see the change as failure, but as an update to a mental model. This reflects cognitive flexibility, the ability to adjust beliefs, strategies, and behavior when circumstances change. Flexible thinkers separate opinions from identity, so they do not defend a belief merely to protect their ego. Still, changing your mind too often may reflect inconsistency, pressure, or a lack of clear principles. What matters is changing because of evidence, not because of the loudest person in the room. A useful belief audit asks 3 questions. What evidence supports this belief? What evidence challenges it? What information would be strong enough to change my mind? When life becomes crowded with noise and social demands, some people only feel mentally clear after everything becomes quiet. A designer in Portland finds her best ideas after 11 at night. By then, her phone stops buzzing, and no one expects a response. Nighttime often brings fewer interruptions, less social pressure, and fewer urgent decisions. For some people, that quiet helps the mind move from reacting to thinking deeply. However, staying up late is not a reliable sign of high intelligence. It may reflect chronotype, habit, work demands, stress, or screen use. Chronic sleep loss can reduce concentration, memory, and decision-making. The goal is not to romanticize insomnia. A practical solution is to keep a notebook beside the bed, record the idea in 2 minutes, and return to sleep instead of turning one thought into 3 sleepless hours. Quiet does more than support deeper thinking. In conversation, it can also help observant people notice details that everyone else misses. During a meeting in Atlanta, a quiet employee notices who avoids eye contact, who gets interrupted, and whose voice changes when a sensitive topic appears. When he speaks, his comment often reaches the real issue. Some people collect social information before responding. They observe words, facial expressions, timing, power dynamics, and the gap between what is said and what is actually happening. Still, silence does not automatically mean deep analysis. It may also reflect social anxiety, fear of judgment, confusion, or feeling unsafe. Healthy social observation helps someone understand a situation clearly. Hypervigilance is different because it keeps searching for danger even when no clear threat exists. A useful question is, am I noticing information or am I scanning for harm? When someone repeatedly sees hidden layers in behavior and relationships, they rarely stop at asking what is happening. They begin asking a larger question. A person may have a stable job, income, and a life that seems complete, yet still wonder why success does not feel satisfying. Deep thinkers often search for coherence, a sense that their experiences, values, and choices belong to one direction. They do not only want to understand how life works, they also want to know what is worth pursuing. However, searching for meaning is not a unique sign of high intelligence. It is a common experience that may become stronger during change, loss, loneliness, or an identity crisis. To move from abstract reflection to action, ask 3 practical questions. What truly matters to me? Am I giving it time or only thinking about it? What small action today would match that value? These 10 behaviors may reflect curiosity, analysis, social awareness, and cognitive flexibility. No single habit proves high IQ. Intelligence depends on abilities, context, and how people use them. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Thalvyn Psychology for more insights into human behavior. Thank you for watching and supporting Thalvyn Psychology. Please subscribe and let's keep exploring the psychology deep within us together.